first things first. I mean, we got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about your book. We got to talk about wedding plans. But Jason, I need your thoughts, your honest thoughts on last night's episode of The Bachelor, part 1 of the finale. I don't even know what to think about it. So you got to tell me what you're thinking about it.
It's honestly like devastating is the word. It is so heartbreaking, this episode, because you're seeing like Clayton doesn't see, and I have talked to him in the past, doesn't seem like this malicious guy. He seems like he's made a lot of mistakes, but a guy that, while he keeps, it's like you're watching, it's like a car crash that you're watching, and you have so much empathy for him. Like there's like an empathy. I feel bad for him a little bit. And these poor girls, I feel awful for. And then you see his parents come in, and they're obviously, you could see they are so disappointed in their son. And then there's the Susie factor. I mean, it's like constant sadness and heartbreak. And I left that episode almost like depressed. And I was thinking about this. I'm like, why do I feel depressed right now? I think one of the things is that what's interesting is these 3 girls are awesome. They are awesome. The final 3, these are an unbelievable group of final 3 girls. And they're all so different. And I think, I don't know if you look at every season, how often as a viewer, we are truly rooting, like emotionally, for every single one of them. And I think that's what makes this so challenging. But one of my favorite parts of that episode was Clayton's dad stepping up and telling his son, you take ownership. You screwed up. You made your mistakes. You created this. You got to start taking ownership. And there are times I wanted to pull my hair out last night. Like, why? Like, dude, you got to think through some of this stuff. Think through this before you instantly start talking, because words have such power, especially in the world of love and relationships. And you must select those words carefully, because as we saw, it creates so much emotional attachment and just sad. I hope there's a happy ending. I'm sad.
You know, you really nailed it on the head, because if you just thought things through, I know like you need to live in the moment. I applaud him for living in the moment, but at the same time, you have a lot of feelings on the line. So Jason, what do you think is going to happen tonight? Because a lot of people think, okay, he's just going to try to get Susie back and the 2 of them end up happily ever after, which I'm like, I don't know. I'm skeptical. I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah. I mean, let's also talk about one win if you end up with Clayton. If Clayton ends up being your life partner, you know for sure he's not going to lie to you. That you know you will get the truth to a level you probably don't want, but at least you'll know that. Tonight, okay, so I have absolutely, I don't know if anyone has spoilers, so I have no spoilers. I want to preface it with that. Some people automatically assume that because Kaitlyn does stuff with the show or we're in the show, we know. I don't have a darn clue idea. Obviously, he's, Gabby and Rachel are coming back. And there's this whole factor of Susie coming back. I have a prediction, especially based on what was said at Women Tell All, when one of the girls said, Clayton, I'm sorry. Like, I know, I know what's happening. And she said, I'm sorry. And he looked at her and shook his head. I think it's the first time ever that a bachelor ends up with no one. I think they all end up leaving. That's my prediction. Every girl ends up saying inevitably no, based on the reactions I've heard from people who have seen it, like you saw Nick Viall and Higgins. I haven't had the ability, I haven't seen it, but that's my prediction. He ends up completely, like they all come together and they're like, we're done.
Which honestly, I mean, that's not that shocking in the way that he was acting last night in that last episode. Like, honestly, you kind of deserve it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there is, if he ends up by himself, there is no one at fault but Clayton. That is all on you. But that's the one reason I cannot wait to watch tonight. No. Yes, the finale I think is going to be a complete shit show, but I think this after the final rose is going to be outrageously entertaining. One, because you'll have all three of the girls coming back. And two, it's like that Hannah Brown season. Are they going to potentially, or even the Peter season, will something actually happen in live time? Because you have 4 months since this all actually happened.
Right.
What's the status today? So that's what I'm ready for. Let's go.
Wow.
They should make this a pay-per-view event, I feel like.
I know. I'm like, you're just hyping it up. I'm excited. But I know besides all Bachelor, we also need to talk about your new book, because we could talk about The Bachelor all day long, but we're so excited for your new book. So tell fans, what can we expect from it? Because you've said that you're like very vulnerable in it, but you're also given some pointers.
Yeah, so I get very real in this book. I talk about a lot of mental anguish, some anxieties that I had during my corporate career and trying to grind up the ladder, and some of the things that came of that. And for one of the biggest things is that I was camouflaging who I was for so long, and eventually those walls fell down. I crumbled and literally hit the deck. And I talk about a story in which literally I hit the deck, and the things I was doing to continue to camouflage my inner voice was pretty drastic. Like I would have Xanax and propanolol, beta blocker prescribed to myself. I would hide them in a Listerine breath mint container and put it in my pocket so that if I ever had that panic come on, I could down one and be okay. And so I was doing so much to camouflage my inner voice. And what I've learned is, through my experience in corporate America and some of the behind the curtains I've seen in unscripted television, there are so many people that are dealing with career confusion, and there are so many people that are camouflaging their true authentic self. And until you drop into it, you'll never achieve your pinnacle of professional success. And so what this book is, it's a map that will lead one with any career confusion to change. And it will help you identify directional signals that'll tell you how to make that change. It's an 8-step process. It's an 8 roadmap process. Every chapter has actionable takeaways that you can instantly implement, from how to hack the hiring process, negotiating for yourself, working on your branding, taking the work out of networking, and so on. But within this book, it's also I've tried to make it entertaining. I wanted to be a page turner because some of this stuff can be boring. So if you're a fan of The Bachelor, Bachelorette, you ever wonder, how do all these people leave work? What's that process like? I actually have the memo that I sent to my boss, which is outrageous, to get approved to go on the show. I have details of what it was like to go back into work. And then I have the full story of when I was pushed out the door, because Bachelor world and professional world hit heads. And so there's a lot of storytelling in there, from negotiating for myself on Bachelor in Paradise, what some of the discussions, selling points, and branding was like when I was being interviewed to be the Bachelor, and so many things that I've learned. And the why I wrote the book is, one, I was put in this ultimate ultimatum: either restart your life outside of the bank, or restart your brand in the bank, and pretty much no more social media, no more podcasting, no more side hustle. And so I chose to restart my brand outside the bank, created a company called Restart to help people with financial literacy and career navigation. And the second thing is, through this 10 years, I've had the opportunity to sit in some meetings with some of Forbes' most powerful banking executives. And, I've got to see a lot of behind the scenes and some like really big daytime shows. And when the curtain was pulled back, I learned a lot. And that information can really, really help people as they're trying to negotiate for themselves and essentially write their own story, because I believe we live in a system that your story will be written for you. Your life will be led for you until you take control right down to the bedrock of your foundation of what you're trying to achieve.
I mean, what an elevator pitch also. Like, that was great. No,
Thank you.
I gotta say, I'm like, what? I mean, the book sounds amazing. And also, like you said, it kind of has a little bit of everything for people, because who doesn't have confusion when it comes to their career? I mean, especially after 2 years of a pandemic, you kind of feel like you're a little standstill. And I do know Bachelor Nation fans will be excited to see some insight, because are you giving out some numbers? Because for me, I'm always curious about like the numbers that the Bachelor people are offering.
Oh, we got numbers. We got to talk numbers. I'm a numbers guy. We got numbers about, what I negotiated Go on Paradise, different guarantees within my Bachelor in Paradise negotiation, numbers of what I was offered to potentially be that Bachelor, because we did, I signed the contracts, but they obviously went with Colton. Talked about numbers of exactly what I was making when I was offered to go on the show and what the risk of that was. I talked about my signing bonuses. I talked about every number of raises that I got, the percentage of raises I got, and how I specifically negotiated them. In 2 instances in my life, I got a 20% raise and a 50% raise, and I give the tax how I did that. But yeah, I talk Bachelor numbers, we talk professional real life numbers. There's a whole lot of numbers going on in this book, and it's all out there.
I can't let you go without asking about those wedding plans, because we need to know what's coming down the pipeline. Do you guys have a date, a venue? I know she's on tour right now with Dancing with the Stars, so that's like, how can you plan a wedding while doing that? I don't know, but what's that date? Yeah.
Here is the latest and greatest, Lauren. This is literally coming in from an hour ago, fresh off the text message line. But we have our wedding planner finally hired. The wedding planner is Ashley, the same exact wedding planner that Ashley and Jared used. When we went to Ashley and Jared's wedding, we were blown away by their wedding, and we called Ashley and Jared. We're like, who is doing your planning? And oh my God, I could write a whole book on the wedding planning process, because we've interviewed about 5 wedding planners. But he is going, this is the first time we're meeting him live in person. It's on Kaitlyn's last show, Dancing with the Stars. Troy is going to be there with us. And so we're going to have a meeting with Troy before the show to figure out exactly what our steps are going to be, the venues we're going to look at. There are 2 venues in Nashville we're considering, the Country Music Hall of Fame, and one is where the Symphony plays. I'm blanking on the name of it. Those are 2 likely. It's likely those will be the one of those 2 venues. But my understanding is they're booking out until until 2023. So it's likely that we're going to have to schedule in 2023.
All those COVID weddings. Last question, do you think it'll be televised?
Oh, also Grand Ole Opry is one we're considering too. So that's a big opportunity, because that's where she had her last show. We absolutely loved it there. I don't know if it will be televised. I don't think it'll be televised, but I think it'll be covered. I think when I say covered, like I know someone is talking about like having some type of media group there of some sort. I don't know how all that stuff works, to be honest.
You're like, I don't know. I just
want to go party.
Yeah, I'll just show up and party.
Time and celebrate and see all our friends and family.